I am Giuseppe Tallarico. I'm the general manager of the World Permaculture Association. The World Permaculture Association is an organization based in Italy who is working with a network of food producers, governments, and local communities to build local economies using the permaculture approach. Today, we have the pleasure and the honor to have Erik Ohlsen. Erik is a permaculture teacher, designer, and he's a very strange person. I mean, he's an entrepreneur. And this is very strange in the permaculture world to listen this word. Is it true, Erik? Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me here, Giuseppe. Great to chat with you.
So I say that this word is strange, entrepreneur, and we were talking about this before starting to record the conversation. Why? What do you mean for entrepreneur, and why in the permaculture movement very often this word is seen as something not completely ethical, not completely
yes. Yes. Well, so entrepreneur. So one of the challenges that we face in scaling solutions to a lot of the world's crises is how do we organize ourselves in a way where we have the resources and the energy to actually get this work done on a scale that's beyond just my backyard. And that's for folks who that's all the time and energy they have is to just build their garden in their backyard. That's wonderful. That's beautiful. And if we all did that, it would have a huge impact. But for some of us, we want to create a whole life doing this work. For myself, I've been, since I was 19 years old, my passion has been to restore the land, to build community. And one of the lessons that I learned over all the years in starting nonprofit organizations and working in activist collectives and all the different ways that I tried over 2 decades to implement solutions is that one, it's difficult to generate enough resources to take care of yourself, to take care of your own family and your own community while you're out there trying to quote unquote save the world. And it wasn't until I started my first small business that I found a model for me where I could quickly scale regenerative practices. I could build soil, I could catch water, I could plant trees and grow food, and not be stressed out every month about whether I could pay my rent, whether I was going to be able to have health insurance. Living in the United States, we have to pay for health insurance. These are big stressors. And so when I started my first business, all of a sudden I was able to hire my friends. I was able to pay my bills, but I was doing it by restoring the land. That was the work that I was doing to pay my bills, was literally restoring the land. And after a time, I realized a couple things. One, I realized that if we want to make a huge impact with permaculture, as many permaculture people talk about, we need to be more, we need to diversify our approach. We need to be more acceptable of all the different kinds of people out there in the world. And one of the challenges that I had with the very subculture approach to permaculture was that for the most part, it actually was quite privileged to the people who maybe had family money or had other resources they could draw on so that they could go and dedicate their life to doing this kind of subculture way of permaculture. And then I started thinking about all the people in the world, all the working people who spend all their lives working so hard to make it, working so hard to care for their families and care for their communities. And that so many of the working people in the world are applying chemicals. They're mining the land. They're polluting the water. They're building, technology that may not be good for the planet. But they are stuck because they need to pay their bills. And so what I realized in that first small business that I started, Permaculture Artisans, was that, well, we actually have a way not only to achieve ecological restoration at scale, but also social restoration by developing careers and livelihoods where people could spend their whatever hours they work, 8 hours a day or 6 hours a day or 40 hours a week, literally building soil, catching water, cleaning water, growing food, restoring the land. And if we were able to create careers and livelihoods where the normal folks who maybe aren't even into permaculture, but they're into having a good job because that's what's important for them and their families, and we were able to create a force around the planet, a economy, a regenerative economy where people could literally make their livelihood, their income doing regenerative work. Like, what would scale regeneration faster in this day and age? I can't really think of something that would scale regeneration faster than that. So as an entrepreneur, what I've done is I've created a series of different small businesses, an educational organization, a design contracting company, a mapping company, a small publishing house. And within each of these organizations and businesses, we are employing people. And we are employing people to do the work of our times, to build soil and catch water and grow food. And we have about 20 employees right now. And so these folks are working full time, and this is the kind of work that they're doing in the world. And so because one of the challenges that I've found is that when we talk about money and permaculture, and we talk about this, it's a very sensitive topic because there's a lot of very passionate folks who see money as, you know, the evil in the system. It's a representative of all the things that are horrible in the world. And in many ways, money does have that representation. But if we want to just get practical about doing the work, you know, there's being visionary and idealistic, and then there's like, how do we practically get from now where we are, a desertifying world with you know, topsoil and species going extinct every day, topsoil being lost every day, and how do we quickly repair that situation? We are in a money economy. That is the world that we are living in. And many organizations that are nonprofits, and this is the other sort of trick that we have to, illusion we have to dispel, is if you're a nonprofit or you're a grassroots organization or whatever, all of these approaches require funding. And one of the things we see in this day and age is GoFundMe campaigns. You know, every day there's a new GoFundMe campaign to fund this project or that project or whatnot. Well, how is that any ethically better than me working with my neighbor who is just a person like me and they want to hire me to design them a garden? That's a one-to-one relationship right there with an exchange that is meaningful between us. And that is a way to fund the work of regeneration. And so I feel like this thing about money and all is like, well, everybody, even if you're doing the activist work, you're still fundraising that money from somewhere. You still need those resources. And so I think small businesses are a much more approachable way for most people in the world to get involved in this work.